Red light is on.
All right. I feel like my going down.
Good?
We're good.
All right. Welcome to the Well-ish podcast, sponsored by Iowa Specialty Hospital, where real life meets better health. We're your hosts. I'm Derek.
I'm Anthony.
Let's dive in. Well, welcome in to the Well-ish podcast, another episode here. Super excited to be back again this time here this week with my my awesome co-host Anthony. My name's Derek. We are really excited about today's episode. If you can, and if you're, I don't know how great of a view it is, but you can see we have lots of notes with us today. And so really featuring our title sponsor, Iowa Specialty Hospital today, which of course is who we both work for, and really excited to talk about the employee wellness program. That's something that both of us participate in the wellness committee, so very near and dear to our hearts, something we think a lot about, throughout our work week. And so this will be a really cool opportunity to talk about some of the results that came from our company specifically, of course, because those are the numbers we have, and it's really exciting to see. I'll just say it right, increase in participation year over year, which
absolutely.
is really, really cool.
Yep.
But then I think we'll also get into just like the importance of the participation in and of itself in any wellness program and whatever company you might work for.
Mhm.
So super exciting for us today. We're just going to kind of get into some numbers and just see where it goes. But anything else before we jump in?
No, I think that's exactly what we want to talk about. And something that you mentioned right before we got on and started actually recording was that it's not just really talking about our employee wellness program and how like great it is and how like it's improving and everything. It's also talking about if your company has an employee wellness program, maybe it's something to look into as well and actually take hopefully a little bit more serious, because there are definitely benefits to it. From an organization, but also from a personal level as well, right? That's the whole point of it.
Exactly. And I think too, when you think about employee wellness, right? It can get really impersonal really fast, but I think it's so important to remember that the point of the employee wellness program, or like anything that someone might go do for their wellness outside, even if it's outside of work, whatever it is, it's to improve or change your health, right? Like that's the point. And so also I want to say, if there's something that you feel like in your employee wellness program that's like missing, or you feel like, hey, this would be really helpful for me, like go tell the people that are running it, because chances are they're people a lot like us who want to make it better for you, who want to make those changes and those improvements. So it's really fun to get to talk about this stuff, because it kind of looks at a little bit more of a epidemiologic version of our health within our organization.
Sure.
Which is cool. Like it's cool to see like, oh, that's, like looking at our results here, we had it's like 72% of people that participated in our biometric screening. So that's people who get their blood drawn, they get it sent to the lab, and they go their labs drawn. 72% of people had a healthy glucose level, which comes back that's under 100 milligrams per deciliter.
Correct.
I think I got that.
Yeah.
That
very
tag right.
good. Yeah.
So that's super cool, right? Because that's 72% of people who don't have that risk factor right now, that have maybe been taking action on their health. And there's a good number, I'm sure, that simply just have healthy glucose, and that's awesome. But there's a good number who maybe didn't and now do, which is cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of this, is that it's a preventative measure. What you were reading off of was our biometric screening. And this is we'll go over this a little bit more hopefully, but our biometric screening is part of our employee wellness, where you get the biometric, you get your blood drawn, and then these results done for testing for metabolic syndrome, right? And then that automatically gives you points that goes towards the total points, so that way you can get the highest standard, right?
Yeah.
Um,
In our scoring, there's like a scoring system, and
yeah,
so
whether or not you had healthy blood glucose or not, or high waist circumference or not. But I think that's a really cool, just like a really cool screening to do, because what we know is that metabolic health is unfortunately on the rise for not the right, like on the
it's
rise for being, or I guess on the decline, metabolic health. How would you
issues
phrase that?
issues are rising.
Correct. Yeah. The
It's
amount of people with poor metabolic health is increasing. That's
in
probably
in this country.
in this country.
In this
Correct. Yeah.
country.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that we do this to, one, get an have an eye on whether or not our employees or the employee has good metabolic health. And then if they don't, like alerting them or letting them know why that is a risk factor and
Yeah.
what, could be causing harm based
Mhm.
upon that. Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
So should we dig into the biometric screenings?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
So
so.
what we have in front of us is literally the statistic from this past year of everyone in our organization that did the biometric screenings within our employee wellness program. What happens there is we have the employee wellness leader, I believe, Brooke's her name.
Mhm.
She goes around and well, first they get their blood drawn. She's gonna do all the blood drawing. That's
Yeah.
usually done local.
That would be way too much work for
Yeah,
her. She
she
already
already
does.
does a lot
She
of work.
already
Yeah,
does
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Shout out you, Brooke.
Yeah, shout out Brooke. But then Brooke gets all those results, compiles them, and then goes out to each location, and meets with each individual. And this year was 366. I think she has maybe some help up north, but
Okay.
still, she meets with a lot of people
That's
and
a
goes through
ton of
all
meetings.
of these results.
Holy
Yeah,
cow, that's a ton of
yeah.
meetings.
And what they test for in this screening are 5 different markers, right? What's on there is healthy waist circumference, and that is for females 35 inches or less. For men is 40 inches and less, or less than 40 inches, less than 35. Healthy blood glucose, like you mentioned, 100 milligrams per deciliter. Healthy blood pressure, I believe it's actually, is it
One
125 or 85?
120 over 80. I
Are you
or
sure? I know we should have gotten that. So we also forgot to
yeah,
mention we're kind of doing this episode off the cuff
we're
a
just
little
jumping
bit.
in. We're just jumping in because we wanted to talk about it. It was exciting. Full
It's
disclosure,
super
we
important.
met this morning and we're very gung ho
Yeah.
about this topic right now, so we just jumped in.
Absolutely. But anyway, healthy blood pressure, so being below
So
that, whatever
disclaimer,
those numbers.
we'll put that. Let me make a note. We'll put that number in
There you
the
go.
bio.
Healthy triglycerides, less than 150. And I don't know the actual measurement for that. And then healthy HDL. For men and women, that is different. So for men, it's above 40, and for females, above that 50.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. So, and why we test for that, I mean, really, like I mentioned, is to understand, one, your baseline. Let's say you get your health, those categories. Okay, let's understand where you're at.
Yeah.
And then we test it each year if you're healthy still, because that's going to give us an idea as to if something is creeping up,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you're just maintaining. But we want to be able to make sure we catch if it's creeping up.
Because I think it's so important. The healthy ranges, the healthy numbers that exist out there, right?
Mm.
There has been research done around those, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's really important that we point out that it's, for the most part, epidemiological studies.
Mm.
And that does not look at the individual, right? It looks at the group as a whole. It looks at the population. It looks at, like, okay, people who are healthy tend to have the numbers in this range.
Mm-hmm.
You could be different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that's so important to remember.
Yeah.
You could be different. And that's why tracking your own personal trends is so key.
Yeah.
Like that's why we want to do that yearly physical, because let's say you feel great, you're in great health, everything's working awesome, and your HDL number is at
Super low.
it's super
Yeah.
low, right? But you feel amazing. You feel great, right? Okay. It's maybe a risk factor
Mm-hmm.
for that to drop 10 more points, right? So it tells you like, okay, hey, you know what? I'm doing well. I'm exercising. I'm eating fruits and vegetables. I'm doing all these things.
Mm-hmm.
If it were to drop from there, right? Now, okay, look, what's going on? What's changing? Right? Same thing with like, what's a good one that I like? Oh, if we do, I'm trying to think of a good one that's like, what's one that lives in a range? Let's say, just give me. Oh, you know what? Thyroid.
Blood glucose.
Thyroid's a great one. Okay, because there's like a thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH,
Okay.
right? So it lives in a range
Yep.
of like this is about how when we measure your blood, this is about how much a healthy person has.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if you're someone who usually lives on the high end of that, and that's just where you're at, right? You could have a massive change in how much thyroid stimulating hormone your body's producing, and it still falls in the healthy range. But if you've got a trend, if you've got year over year, if you say, hey, this is where I'm normally at, even though you're in healthy range and it drops a ton, boom, we can
Yeah.
see that and red flags go off like, hey, what's going on? What's changing? Because even though you're in healthy range, something's different.
Mm-hmm.
And so then more work can be done to then look into that.
Yep.
But so that's why you want to track your health year over year and same thing with like your weight as well.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Weight's probably an easy one to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like let's say you are very, 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 very used to being
Say 150.
150
Even numbers.
pounds,
Yeah.
right? So you're a 150-pound guy.
Mhm.
Perfect. And that's what you live at. And all of a sudden, in 1 year, you gain 20 pounds. Well, 170 pounds is, for most people, not going to set off any alarm bells. But for you, I just gained 20 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
What happened? Because that's some decent weight gain. And so that could set, but if you haven't gone to the doctor before, all they see is, oh, individual who weighs 170 pounds falls within a healthy BMI range. They have a decent amount of muscle, so they're probably good.
Yeah. Well, what I think, I mean, let's even use that same example. So 150 to 170.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say it is two things. One, over the course of 15 years, so you're gaining 1 to 2 pounds a year.
Yeah.
Right. And you aren't tracking that. Let's just say you get a physical after 15 years and all of a sudden you're up 20 pounds. You kind of knew you were gaining weight, but you really weren't paying too much attention to it. But you're getting it really around that midsection too, right? So your waistline's increasing. So before you're wearing jeans that were maybe, I don't know, I'm going to throw an even number again. So 30, I'm going to say, I don't know, say 30.
30-inch waistline,
right?
sure.
And now it's up to like 36 and you're about to go close to 37.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't been tracking that. Well, what we know is that it didn't all happen over that 1 year. Because I think 20 pounds is quite a bit in 1 year.
Yeah.
But if that's 1 to 2 pounds each year,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really think about it. But then all of a sudden, 15, 20 years down the road, you go from 30 to 50. And you're like, wow, I've gained a lot of weight. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen but it's those, to the point, it's been happening over years. And could we have maybe gotten on top of that a little sooner?
Yeah.
Could you have been more alert to it when you're potentially more inspired or motivated to change it, right?
Or when your knee didn't hurt yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like I think that's part of it too. And that's why we want to be proactive about health and this is something, that I feel like is in the media a lot more now, well, starting to be, is being proactive about your health, getting out in front of it, being like kind of not waiting to have an ailment before you talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
Right. Because like it's just not worth waiting.
Yeah. And everything that I see, I mean, it's exactly to your point. The younger millennials and especially generation below that, so Gen Zs, individuals who are just now kind of coming into like that young adulthood are super inspired by living healthy lives and are really into like monitoring that and taking care of their health sooner rather than wait until later. And I think that's important.
It's huge.
So let's go to some of these statistics.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First thing that jumped out to us was out of the 366 screenings, there were only 44 men. And I think, I'm pretty sure I did the statistic. I think it was like 12% of the total of 366.
Wow.
Now, what we know is, one, healthcare in general tends to be more have a higher female population, right?
Mm-hmm.
But two, men tend to also maybe not take their health as serious when they're younger,
Mm-hmm.
especially in their 20s, 30s, and I would even argue probably like 40s,
Into
right?
40s too.
Yeah, until something and like you
Yeah.
mentioned that knee hurts or like you
Until
have that one
something goes
sickness
wrong,
ailment.
guys tend not to,
Yeah.
at least in the maybe a little bit older generations,
Hmm.
right? So I think that's such a huge thing because then you look at some of these numbers
Hmm.
that we're talking about and the the assumption, if it was 50-50 men and women, we
Hmm.
could look at these numbers and say, perfect, accurate representation of
Yeah.
all populations to an extent, right? But it's so skewed.
Very.
And it's
Yep.
very possible that if we pulled the men out of there, healthy glucose jumps up to 88% of people have healthy glucose. It's
Or drops.
or
But
drops
so the
too.
drop probably wouldn't be as
Not
significant,
as
but
significant,
still,
but
yeah.
like it's just such a small portion of the population.
Yep.
And so we got to think like, okay, is from a standpoint of like how, like I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but like if you're if
We
you're
just we have to take this for what that's telling us isn't really even across men and females, males and females.
it's more so just about the women in the organization
Yeah.
for the most part.
And our point here is really just to point out that, you know, are there more men that we could be pushing to do this in our system?
Yeah.
And then two, to your point, like, do we really need to be more alarmed by the women's health, female health in our organization? Because what if we did take that out and none of this changes? Like, do we need to
Mm.
be focusing
Mm.
primarily on that? Right. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot that is
Yeah.
left unsaid based on
Mm-hmm.
this, but I don't want us to go too deep
No, for sure.
with yeah.
For
Because the
sure.
next thing below that is out of the 366, 72% of them, and this is probably where you're trying to get to, 72% of them were healthy screenings.
Mm-hmm.
And what we mean by that, if I remember correctly, is you have either two or less
Of the risk factors. So
of the risk factors.
of these five things that we look at, the waist circumference, healthy glucose, blood pressure, triglycerides, HDL, two or less of those five were
On your chart.
were like marked as, oh, that's a danger,
Out of range.
like out of
Yep.
range, right? That's a mark there. But and so that means three,
Yeah.
three are good.
Yep.
And so those were the healthy screenings. So we had 72% of people were healthy screenings, which is great. So, but it's when we look at, all right, metabolic syndrome, which is classified as, like we said, three or more
Mhm.
of those markers. It was 28%, or to me, the more important number, 103 people.
Yeah.
Right.
That's more alarming. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So
When you put it in the
like,
person.
that's where we think about, okay, what kinds of changes can be made, and that's where we want to like use this program to say like, okay, maybe I'm in that 103 people, right? What are some actionable steps that I can take to pull myself out of that group?
Yeah.
And it's right here on the scorecard, right? That you find for this program. And so it's completing your daily activity. It's making sure you were, watching the videos about mindful eating and things like that. And then, like that's where, if you have questions, like find someone to reach out to.
Yeah.
Listen to our podcast, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Like,
Ask us questions.
yeah,
We're happy to answer.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Send us something on Instagram. So, oh, go ahead. I think you have something to say.
No, yeah, exactly. I think we can probably move on from this here in a second, but like to also double click on your point, out of those 103, what if all 44 men were in that metabolic syndrome category?
Yes,
and that
that's
puts it
what
back down to like 60, only 60
Yes.
female, but half of that is the men. And I mean, then that's even more alarming. So we could definitely get more into the statistics of all this and parse that out. And I think that's important. And we probably are going to end up asking.
I think that's
Brooke to
probably
look
a
into that.
question we should ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then to finish this pamphlet out, 93% of our population are tobacco free, which
Yeah.
I think is fantastic. And And then I thought was interesting is that we actually track what medications they used that could potentially influence or benefit like the risk factors. So 19% are on blood pressure medications, 13% are on cholesterol, which I believe cholesterol was the one that went down one from 14 to 13. And then 4% are on a diabetes medication.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the nice thing or the interesting thing about the cholesterol going down is, to your point at the start of this, our participation went up this year. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought this was a very cool graphic talking about,
Yeah.
I believe 2019 is when this wellness program started. And then based on our program, we have 3 levels. Well, I mean, in theory, technically have 4, right? You could probably be a part of the wellness and not
You
actually
could
get
participate
bronze.
and not make it to bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's the bronze level, silver, and gold.
Mm-hmm.
And you acquire that by, we'll go through the point system, but you get points based on all these different areas, like for preventative health awareness, just doing an activity. And I think there's one other, but I can't remember exactly. We'll go into that.
Mm-hmm.
So since 2019, our participation has continued to grow. And more importantly, the amount of people getting gold has consistently grown. There was one year where it went down a little bit, but since then, I mean, since 2019 went from 95 and now we're at 229 this year,
Mm-hmm.
received a gold status. Therefore, they participated in most of the activities, got all their biometric screening. They got the biometric screening done and an annual
And a
physical, which we
physical.
didn't talk about.
Yeah.
And then 54 got silver, which 54 last year got silver too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of cool. And then 54 people got bronze, which last year only 36 people got bronze. So we actually increased in total number on top of increasing people that got gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So super cool because I think that participation in the wellness program, right? That it's like obviously we, from a wellness committee standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
are seeing these numbers as a group, right? But every single one of those people that got gold is a person,
Mm-hmm.
which is so cool,
Yeah.
right? Like how cool is that? That was, what do we get? 22 more people who like decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do better with my
Yeah.
health, right? Now, maybe we'll say one of those people just said, I was already doing well. I just tracked it this year, right? Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But still, they're
Good.
getting an
Now
incentive,
you got an
right?
incentive for it. Good
Yeah.
work. And hopefully that inspires you to keep going and do it again next year too, right? But like I think that's the coolest part for me is like every single one of those numbers on that page is a person
Yeah.
who improved their life.
And I think that's the whole point of our wellness community.
That's why I'm here.
You and I talk about this a lot. And I think
Yeah.
that's what the group all have like joined it for. The point is honestly to like share like how important our individual health is,
Mm-hmm.
while also as a community, like, use each other to be healthier so that as an organization we're healthier and then we get an incentive,
Yeah.
right, as an organization, but also as an individual.
Yeah.
It's about empowering the individual to ultimately help the whole.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, especially if we all want to, live a long, healthy life, because it's about the quality too, right? This is going to help with quality,
Yeah.
not just the quantity. We're just trying to live long.
Yeah.
We want to live well and long.
Like I think about, so it's one of those things that like obviously taking care of your health is an added thing
Hmm.
to do every day. But I want to like point out, I want to use sleep as my example here,
Okay.
right? So sleep is one of those things that everybody needs a little bit different amount, right? But most people land somewhere between 7 to 9 hours, maybe a little bit more.
Mhm.
Okay. Very few fall below that. And if you're someone who thinks that you fall below that, try getting 7, see how you feel.
Mm.
I think that it's like you spend so much time sleeping, like a third of your day sleeping, a third of your hours sleeping. So that way 16 of your hours can be awesome.
Mm.
So you can feel good. You're able to think and we willingly do that. We willingly do that because we know the benefits.
Yeah.
And we know, and sometimes your body says, nope, you're going to sleep. And it makes you go to sleep whether you wanted to or not, right?
Yeah.
Lying on the couch, you're done. So I think it's your body recognizes the importance of it. Exercise eating good foods, like, to me, it's just another part of that. Where it's like, yeah, you're sacrificing some of your time, but man, it's so important.
Yeah.
Like, it's worth it to have, let's say you spend another, if you add up all your time that goes into that, let's say it's 2 more hours, 1 hour to exercise, and then 30 minutes at each meal or so, maybe 15 for a quick one, right? So you've got another 2 hours or so of your day that you're spending on your health that's not being used as either at work or whatever you want to do, right? To me, it's like, all right, so now we've done 10 hours of preparing our bodies to just feel good and be awesome.
Yeah.
That's worth it, right? Like, add the couple hours on there to have a really great last 14 of your hours.
Mm.
Just seems worth it to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, I mean, if you invest, I think of it like investing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say it's 13. So the last 13 years, based on some literature I've been reading, is where people start to decline. But it's a matter of like, if you invest that time now, kind of to your point, like
Mm-hmm.
you start early on, whether it should be more than 10 years, maybe you try to use similar
Yeah.
numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you invest early on those 10 hours a day, that's going to benefit not just the next 14 hours of your day, but what about
Mm-hmm.
the last 14 years of your life,
Oh, dude,
right? Um,
that's awesome.
yeah. So I was trying to spin it really cool, but I
Yeah.
think it came
No,
across just fine.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so, and with that, what we know is that exercise is so incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I were to go up to anyone or even you and be like, hey, man, I'm going to prescribe you a medication that's going to increase your heart rate, elevate your blood pressure, um, and also your blood glucose and your hormones as well. We're going to increase that cortisol. You're probably going to be like, no, I don't want that prescription.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what exercise is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're doing it because it's an intentional, like, exposure to those, right? Like your
Yeah.
body adapts to that versus if you aren't intentionally raising your cortisol, raising your blood pressure, elevating your blood glucose, any of those things, that's where the harm lies. And that's where these screenings can really help, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all about that intentionality,
Yeah,
So,
and so, like, to piggyback off of that, exercise is not something that is like, it's not something that you want to try and do a bunch of for 2 months and then never do again,
mm-hmm,
right? And that's what you're talking about with, like, in that investment, that
mm-hmm,
time, right? I would much rather somebody exercises 2 times a week for a year than 5 times a week for 3 months,
absolutely.
right? Because think about it. If we think about this in a, like, just like a, you get what you give type of thing,
Mm,
right? If you give a workout twice a week consistently, that means that every time you go to sleep for a whole year and every time you eat good food for a whole year, your body is making changes and adapting, right? But if you just do 3 months of going hard, well, then there's that, okay. So you're going to get 3 months of maybe a little more increased adaptation, possibly, if you're resting enough and if you're getting enough food. Very possible, right?
yeah.
During that 3 months, you might be getting more than someone might be getting during their 3 months just working out twice.
Mm-hmm,
But then there's 9 months of not having anything, and your body searches for equilibrium, right? It's not going to commit resources to things that it's not doing.
yeah.
So if it's not exercising, it's going to take the materials that it would have used for exercise, right? Proteins that would have gone to muscle, um, carbohydrates that would have turned into energy, all those things, and they're going to get broken down and
Mm,
then sometimes stored as fat or whatever it might be, And so, like, that consistency thing, that investment, that consistent investment that you make,
yeah.
right? That's why.
I mean, we got to think more long term. As humans, it's just in our nature to think in the short term, right? But using those numbers you just provided, 5 days a week
Mhm.
for 3 months, that's about using
Mhm.
4 weeks a month. That's 5 times 4, which would be what? Yeah, 20, 60 days out of the year, right?
Mhm.
Just if you went 2 days a week
Mhm.
for 52 weeks, that's 104 exercise or times that you went and exercise, right?
Mhm.
Versus the 60 you did in that year.
Mhm.
You already surpassed that. And if that's easy for you to keep going and like continuing to do and makes it consistent, and sustainable for you,
Yeah.
you're going to continue to surpass that.
Yeah.
But if you think of it in such a small, like, well, yeah, I had 60 great days in those first 3 months, but then the next 7 months, maybe you really fell off. Why don't you just aim for the 104 throughout the year? Because after 5 years, you're going to be at over 500 exercise times or whatever you want to call activity sessions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all about, what's sustainable for you. Are you like, what are you tracking? I think that's super important too.
Mm-hmm.
Or what are you trying to like improve upon? Not that you always have to be improving, but are you still getting these screenings that we're talking about? Are you
Yeah.
still checking in to make sure that you're living the healthy life that you believe you're living? And if not, what can we do to maybe, alter that a little bit? And what's going to, benefit you in the long run?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Gosh, and I think about too, like, I feel like it's like you said, people think in the short term. And
easy to do.
I love to use sports as my analogy because enough people kind of know what I'm talking about. And it just, sports translate to our real lives so well. So well. And I think about well, since it's football season, I think about like an NFL team,
Mm,
right? Like they train all year to prepare their bodies for fall camp, where they then practice for weeks on end to then prepare for their first game, where they then are playing, trying to get better, trying to figure out, okay, what are our problems? Can we win enough of these games to
mm,
put ourselves in position to play in the playoffs?
yeah.
And then you keep going and they keep going and they keep going. And it's that consistency, right? We think about like what teams win. It's usually the team that doesn't get hurt, right? So it's the ability to be consistent every week,
Yeah.
right? Can we be together all the whole time? And then as they prepared, that's when you have a chance to go win a championship. And so then I think about like what that looks like in our lives. Like it's the consistency factor, right? If you go big and burn bright for a month, well, you're not going to be ready to go take on whatever challenge is coming next
Yeah.
because that's all it is what's next, right? Like what, because we that's what life, it's just perpetual. The sun keeps rising and setting. It
Yeah.
does,
No,
right?
it
And
does.
so,
Yeah.
and that's where we get back to kind of, to me, the wellness program is like, it's not about like these statistics are great, but that's not a finish line,
Yeah.
right? The the wellness program is about perpetuating health and
Mm,
improving it in those who maybe didn't see what they needed to see this past year
yeah.
because it doesn't end,
Yeah.
just keeps going.
Yeah. There's this guy out there, and then we can move on and talk about it. But his
Yeah.
name's Gordo Byrne. I think I brought him up to you before. But to your point about like using athletes as an example,
Mm,
he talks about how like so many people try and like set like whether it's a say a 5K goal or a lifting goal or a weight goal, whatever the case is, for like 3 or 6 months, that like no professional athlete or no one at the highest level is thinking about that short of a term. Like he argues that we should be thinking about like those 1,000 days. We
mm,
should be more in like that Olympic goal, like every 4 years. Because 1,000 days comes out to be, I think, just over 3 years, maybe 3.5, something to that extent.
mm-hmm.
Um, but to set that goal for that point in time,
Yeah.
and then you have all those like many things below, to your point, practice versus performance, right? So you have all these practice moments that get you consistent, maybe a few performances in there, but
Mm-hmm.
you're all
Sure.
leading up to that ultimate performance or that ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And then after you hit that Olympic time or whatever you want to call it, you have that reflection point, which we talked about. You've already built some great habits and consistency. What can you alter? Throughout there, you're already altering things,
Mm-hmm.
but just expanding that time that you are setting that goal for. So it allows you the freedom to play around with it and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately make it sustainable for you because it's
Yeah.
probably going to change quite a bit from day one to day 99 or 999.
Yeah.
Right. So, um, anything about that?
I mean, I think that is, to me, that's just a huge part of setting those goals is giving yourself the time and space to stumble, fall, fail, pick yourself back up,
Yeah.
navigate your way through, right? Because to me, it's not about putting your absolute best we're not Olympic athletes. Most of us
No,
aren't,
no, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so it's not about the time itself. It's just about the, like, am I able to bring the kind of effort and finish that I wanted to bring, right? And that, to me, that's what it is. And that's what that extra time gives you time to do.
hmm
And by all means, if a really fast 5K is your goal
Oh
for
yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah.
right? If that's your goal, put one 3.5 years out. Awesome. I'm going to run that one 3.5
hmm
years. Cool. Run like 10 in between, right? Go have fun with it. Enjoy the experience of that training. Go through the experience of, like, all right, I'm going to prepare myself over 6 to 10 weeks to get ready for this 5K. What was that experience like? Right. And I think that's where like we mentioned already, kind of the perpetuity of these goals, it becomes more apparent, is like, that's not the only 5K you're ever going to run.
Yeah, yeah,
Hopefully. And that's the goal, is to run a lot of them and enjoy explore the different health opportunities out in the world, and just try them all. Like,
yeah. Whether it's like athletic pursuit, career pursuit, I
mm-hmm,
mean, I even think about it for how often I hear like someone that had a family member go through something unfortunate and they're like, I don't want to end up that way at age, let's say 65, right?
mm-hmm,
Okay, if that's a goal, and let's say you're 35, let's work backwards now. What can you be doing today that's going to set you better up for next year,
mm-hmm.
for the year after that, so that when you do get to 65, you've actually worked towards that, because that's a goal
Oh,
as well, but we don't think of it in that
yeah.
sort of way. So we are running a little bit on low on time,
Short
so
on
I
time here,
want
yeah.
to touch on our changes that have happened from last year to this year's wellness scorecard, and kind of a little bit about that. So first thing is, we already mentioned that gold, silver, and bronze were the 3 levels that we can obtain. Anyone that is a part of our obviously company can participate in this, plus spouses. Now, I think that's new to this year,
Mm,
which I thought was super. As long as they anyone, whether or not they take our insurance or don't take our insurance throughout the company, can participate. If that individual does participate in our insurance, then they can also allow their spouse to join in with the wellness scorecard. And how do you obtain gold? Well, you have to get 2,500 points throughout the year, from November 1st to October 31st of next year. And there's only 2 requirements that make sure that are on top of that, and that is getting an annual physical and also that biometric screening that we talked about.
mm-hmm.
And then you need to complete all the awareness and preventative activities. And that means if you complete all the awareness and preventative activities, you only need to average 2.2 activity points per day, which is pretty easy to get those activity points. How you get activity points? Through steps,
Yep.
through just general
Active.
activities based on your watch. A lot of it's based on wearables.
Yep.
Um, and then I think at the end of the week, if you've got so many days, like each day I should just run through these points. How does that sound? So I'm
Yeah.
not just going off my head. All right. So you can get 6 daily activity points each day. That means if you just hit the activity allotment, then you get those full 6 points, and it's on a scale of 0 to 6, right? Each week, if you can get 5 of those days, or you can get 5 points a week
Mm-hmm.
by obtaining that,
A
right?
certain
So it's
level
5 out
of
of 7.
activity during the week. And
Yep.
so it's like, it's the point is to try and build consistency,
Yeah.
right? That's why. So you can
Yeah.
get daily, which is great, but that won't get you all the way there, because you get some weekly physical activity points as well.
Yep.
And so it's like, all right, perfect. I'm going to hit my daily, but I'm also going to get it next week and the week after that.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and it's building upon that, right? And I think something that, is talked about is that maybe we favor steps too much in this
Mm,
program, which is probably true to some extent. However, there are ways outside of tracking your steps that you can get those physical activity points, and you just need to make sure you're being a little more intentional when you're doing whatever activity that is
mm-hmm.
outside of walking, or
Yeah.
so. And then there's other participations, right? You can do, like, if you participate in a parade that we're a part of, or we help sponsor, then you can get some points. There's event bonuses. If you do some blood donations, that counts
Mm-hmm.
towards your activity. And then there's also challenges throughout the year, where if you participate in the challenge, and some of them do have like low requirements for you to hit. If you obtain those requirements and do the challenge, you get an extra 40 points.
Yeah.
So you're building a ton of points there, and you can actually get 3,145 points just from activity if you hit all the activity throughout the year. So if you were to do that, you'd clearly go above 2,500,
Mm-hmm.
and then all you really need to do is
Get the physical.
and
Biometric screening.
there we go.
Now you get some
Yeah.
gold incentive.
Yeah. Okay, and then there's these other buckets that I mentioned. So there's the awareness and prevention categories. So in the awareness, I mean, just what it sounds like, we're trying to build awareness around health. Why are you doing these things? And there's different like videos and a little bit of activities each quarter that you can participate in. One that really caught my eye was the mindful eating. Looking at portions and labels, because as dietitians, we
Yeah.
talk about that all the time.
All the time.
Super important.
And
I
again,
think,
like once you watch those videos, if you've got more questions, like reach out to us, do some of your own research, and if questions pop up, then reach out to us.
yeah,
Or anybody on the wellness committee. Like we want to find ways to help you learn
yeah,
more. And if you're someone who is watching and or listening to this and you're not in our organization, reach out to your wellness leaders or reach out to us on
yeah,
Instagram. Like, get in contact. If you have questions, don't let them go unanswered.
yeah. We want to help. We really
Yeah.
want to help. Like we said, whether you're a part of our organization or not.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say about? Oh, and I think a lot of this is also like it's a starting point. These videos aren't going to tell you or I or anyone that like everything that you need to be doing, and also be that cheerleader with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we can step in as a dietitian or
Yeah.
program. All right, prevention. Again, it's like to that point of just trying to add more preventative steps. So
Mm-hmm.
getting a flu shots on there, vision exam, dental visits, which I'm coming up due for one.
Same here.
Your annual physical, like we mentioned, biometric screening, and then weight checks as well. That kind of goes to the point of like just making sure you monitor your weight. We aren't trying to necessarily say whether or not your weight's bad, but you should kind of have a little bit of an idea of, is that fluctuating? And it's okay if it fluctuates a few pounds here and there every few months, but is it consistently maybe going up or consistently going down?
Yeah.
Is there some alarm, are there alarm bells ringing that we can help
Exactly.
with?
And also, this is our little way, the weight check, being on the wellness committee, right? A little peek behind the curtain. It's our way to get you to log in.
Yeah.
Log in, check it out. And it's just like it's a little thing that, like, the point isn't the weight. The point is consistency.
Yeah.
Know your health, know your numbers, do the biometric screenings, right? Because the more you know what healthy is and feels like, the more able you are to know when you're not feeling that way.
Absolutely. And then what are the incentives with all
Mhm.
this on top? Not just, why is because we want to be healthier,
Yeah.
but the incentive that gets you kicked back is there's monthly discounts for our company.
Mhm.
Each month you pay, if you get gold, $75 less. So you get $75 towards your health insurance,
Mhm.
$50 for silver, and $25 for bronze. And if you don't take our insurance, but you are an employee, you still get a good kickback. And that's, you get a $500 bonus added to your check at the end of the year, or 500 for gold, 350 for silver, and 150 for bronze. So I think those are pretty good incentives in my opinion. That's kind of nice at the end of the year to have a little, little extra cash.
And you're healthier,
And you're healthier.
right?
Amen. I love it.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, cool. And again, if you have any questions on any of this and you work for our organization, reach out to us.
Or Brooke. Brooke is
Or Brooke.
the high level expert
she's
here. Yeah.
top of the totem pole there. But yeah, awesome. Anything else on wellness programs at all, or?
Nah, I just,
Okay.
I'm uber passionate about people living their healthiest lives and also being themselves, and everyone's different. So it's going to look different for everyone.
Absolutely.
So awesome. All right.
Cool. Well, that was
Thank you.
awesome. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
You wanted to say it so bad.
I know.
Ooh,
I wanted to
all
say
right.
BU.
Hey, that works.
I don't know if I like that though.
You don't know if you like it?
I got you.